Get ready for the biggest reality TV fallout. Married at First Sight Australia fans are exploding online over Scott McCristal and Gia Fleur's relationship hard launch. We dive into the explosive details of how things went from a strong start to a dramatic breakup, exploring exactly what Scott said about the friction between him and Gia after their time together on the show.
Here's a simple way to protect your phone without stress. This Alan 3-pack comes with tempered glass screen protectors, camera lens protectors, and an installation frame for an easier, cleaner fit. It's clear, case-friendly, and built to help guard against scratches and everyday bumps. Check the link in the comments to get it on Amazon.
Next up, we look at Gia Fleur's shocking development in her new relationship with Alan Wallace. Discover the incredible story of how Gia found love off camera with Alan, an ex-semi-professional Australian Football League player, and how their connection has turned into something incredibly serious, complete with matching tattoos. Now we shift gears to the final moments of the series. We break down what to expect in the final episodes of Married at First Sight Australia, including the emotional final vows between couples like Beck Zakaria and Danny Hewitt, and the surprising return of Tyson Gordon and Steph Marshall for the commitment ceremony. Finally, we examine the heartbreaking end of the Stephen and Rachel romance. Find out the messy details behind how Stephen and Rachel's relationship crumbled right after the final vows, and Rachel's raw account of the heartbreak she experienced when Stephen chose to go back to Sydney. Don't miss the full recap and stay tuned for more drama. Married at First Sight Australia contestant Scott McCristal has publicly announced a new relationship following the end of his pairing with Gia Fleur on the show. The couple's on-screen journey was reportedly troubled, culminating in a split before the final vow ceremony. Sources indicate that tensions escalated after Gia stayed at Scott's Gold Coast home, where she reportedly found it too messy and too small, leading to their breakup. Scott has expressed that Gia made significant points when cameras were off, emphasizing his appreciation for his life and home. Following this dramatic separation, Scott has publicly linked up with Brienna Stockdale, a fitness influencer and aesthetics practitioner also based in the Gold Coast. Scott described Brienna as someone he already knew, noting their prior friendship had evolved into something more. Brienna boasts a substantial social media presence with over 148,000 followers on Instagram. Scott shared a photo dump of him and Brienna looking happy in May, captioned "Found You," which drew positive reactions from co-star David Mamo and fans. Meanwhile, Gia Fleur has moved on, reportedly dating tradesman Alan Wallace from Melbourne, who has appeared on the series Love Triangle, produced by the same team as Married at First Sight. Gia Fleur, a participant on the recent season of Married at First Sight Australia, has reportedly found a new and serious relationship off-screen with Alan Wallace. This development comes after her previous relationship with Scott McCristal ended following a tumultuous homestay experience. Scott McCristal and Gia Fleur ultimately decided to break up and leave the show before the final vow ceremony. Scott has commented on the dynamic, stating that Gia brought up issues more when cameras were absent, expressing that being degraded made her feel negative. Gia, however, attributed her perception of the show's drama to the editing, calling MAFS drama at first sight and suggesting constant pressure to generate conflict. Fortunately for Gia, she has connected with Alan Wallace, an electrician from Melbourne. Wallace is known as an ex-semi-professional Australian Football League player, recognizable to some from his involvement in Love Triangle. The pair reportedly met while filming MAFS Australia. Rumors suggest Gia reached out to Alan to attempt to find information about Scott, claiming she wanted to dig up some dirt. After an initial connection where Gia found him attractive, a romantic spark ignited months later after they met at an event, leading to an immediate connection. The relationship between Gia and Alan appears to be progressing rapidly. They have already moved in together, and Alan is spending time with Gia's daughter. Their social media presence, including matching tattoo displays of each other's names, suggests a deep commitment. Gia described the relationship as the healthiest she has ever experienced, citing a feeling of safety, reassurance, and genuine affection from Alan. Meanwhile, Scott McCristal has recently announced a new relationship, dating fitness influencer Brienna Stockdale from the Gold Coast, who is reportedly also deeply involved. The news highlights the shifting dynamics within the reality TV landscape, with Gia Fleur finding stability in her new connection, while Scott pursues a new romance. The final episodes of Married at First Sight Australia 2026 are set to deliver a dramatic conclusion, featuring final couples, emotional confrontations, and surprising cast returns. On Monday, May 11th, the show aired the final 4 couples: Beck Zakaria and Danny Hewitt, Stella McInerney and Philip Gregov, Rachel Gilmore and Stephen Daniluk, and Alyssa Faye and David Mamo, as they read their vows. The episode highlighted significant emotional moments, including Danny's statement to Beck suggesting doubt about their romantic connection despite her calling him her soulmate. In a twist, David Mamo ultimately ended his relationship with Alyssa, walking away before she could make her vows, following a heated exchange where she had put the decision in his court. Meanwhile, Rachel and Stephen were seen reaffirming their commitment to continue their relationship post-show, and Stella was thrilled when Philip proposed to her. The drama continues with a final dinner party and commitment ceremony. While Brooke Crompton, Chris Neald, Tyson Gordon, and Juliette Key are not expected to return for the final commitment ceremony due to their controversial involvement, anti-woke Tyson Marshall and Steph Marshall are set to return for the final dinner party and commitment ceremony. Furthermore, Beck is slated to confront Danny following his actions at the final vows, a confrontation anticipated to be the catalyst for his absence from the ceremony. Viewers can catch the final dinner party on Tuesday, May 12th, at 7:30 p.m., with the final commitment ceremony airing on Wednesday, May 13th, and Thursday, May 14th, at 8 p.m. on E4. The series has been noted for its intense nature, marked by cast departures and real-life proposals. A significant development has emerged from the conclusion of the latest Married at First Sight series, with revelations surfacing about the end of a popular couple. Rachel has opened up regarding a shocking split from Stephen, occurring shortly after their final vows. The series, which has captivated audiences with its mix of drama, romance, and conflict, is now airing its reunion episodes, sparking intense speculation about which pairings have successfully navigated the challenges of the experiment. Stephen and Rachel were fan favorites, noted for their slow-burn romance that evolved into a genuine connection. At the final vows ceremony, the couple exchanged heartfelt promises, with Rachel declaring, "Even with all the fears that whisper in the background, I want this. I want you," and Stephen responding, "I choose you and I'm diving in head first, fearless." However, the narrative surrounding this couple has taken a darker turn. Despite their strong declarations, their relationship dissolved shortly after the final vows were filmed. The breakdown proved to be complex, marked by initial struggles with physical intimacy, including Stephen reportedly rejecting a kiss from Rachel during intimacy week. As the relationship progressed, Rachel voiced serious concerns that Stephen would not relocate from his life and business in Sydney to join her in Melbourne, fears that ultimately materialized. Despite Stephen asking Rachel to be his girlfriend during the final vows, an acceptance was made, but the relationship ultimately failed. Rachel described the breakup as intensely painful, stating, "Heartbreak is the worst. It sucks. It's like a physical illness." She explained that Stephen began using various excuses to avoid visiting her in Melbourne, leading her to feel like a burden. Rachel concluded that, "I was willing to put in the effort, but ultimately it happened exactly the way I was concerned it was going to happen," adding that Stephen returned to his life in Sydney. This outcome marks another significant, yet heartbreaking, end to a budding romance from the reality television experiment.